Ridiculous Crime is a production of iHeartRadio.
Hi, Zaron.
Yeah, what's up, Elizabeth Dutton?
You know what's ridiculous?
Oh, boy, do I.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. Okay, in 1952, the Today Show debuted, but the ratings were kind of poor, so the network decided to bring in new talent. The new talent was a chimpanzee. His name was J. Fred Muggs. Now, this obviously isn't something people are cool with. If you're a trained journalist, you're like, don't bring a chimpanzee and make him sit next to me on the morning show. So one guy quit. Another guy's like, I'll take the job. His name was David Garroway. David Garroway was like cool with the monkey or whatever ape sitting there in his suit. Now, picture this ape. Looks like he's dressed to go play golf.
It's a chimpanzee, not an ape.
Chimpanzees are apes.
Are they apes?
Yeah, if it doesn't have a tail, it's an ape.
All right.
Monkeys have tails and chimpanzees. Anyway, so the chimpanzee, J. Fred Muggs, who's dressed like a banker or he's going to golf, he's sitting there on the Today Show every morning. They teach this ape to read. He can read 500 words.
How long did this go on for?
Years. Not only that, they give him a girlfriend. He eventually gets replaced because David Garroway starts getting jealous. And now the show gets saved by the ape, right? But Dave Garroway's like, man, I can't believe this chimpanzee co-star. So he starts spiking the ape's drink, it's orange juice, with Benzedrine.
What?
And he's waiting for this Benny hopped up chimpanzee to do something wild on like 1950s morning TV, which eventually he does. The ape bites David Garroway live on the air. So then the handlers of the ape try to sue him for trying to like get the ape fired. It's a whole thing. But I'll tell you, there's a happy ending. The ape eventually goes and retires with his live-in girlfriend, Phoebe B. Beebe, and they live in Citrus Park, Florida.
How much Benzedrine orange juice have you been drinking today?
I just saw that.
Are you making this up? This is like an alternative timeline.
J. Fred Muggs, the ape that saved the Today Show. There would have been no Today Show without him because the show would have been canceled, and he's what saved it.
I don't think this happened.
It did, I swear to you.
I think a wild animal hopped up on goofballs, biting someone on TV did not happen. But go off. Yeah, that's ridiculous.
1950s America.
That's ridiculous. Wow, that's ridiculous. That totally came out of nowhere for me. You want to know what else is ridiculous?
I do.
You know what? That's it. Thanks, folks. Thanks for joining us.
By the way, the chimpanzee also played the piano with Steve Allen.
Get out of town. What else did the chimp do?
Let's see. Besides wear a suit and play the piano with Steve Allen, he painted a painting that ended up on the cover of Mad Magazine. Issue 38 of Mad Magazine is a finger painting because he was also an accomplished artist. I swear to you, this is true.
So what you're not able to see is me just putting my headphones down and walking away. Boy.
So yeah, I told you, ridiculous,
great.
right?
Thank you so much. Listen, if you enjoyed the show, I don't know where to go from this. Actually, I do. I've got something really ridiculous.
I know you do.
I do. You want to know what else is ridiculous?
I do.
Being arrested for just enjoying a succulent Chinese meal.
Wait, what? What is a succulent Chinese meal?
You're about to find out.
Oh, good.
I am Elizabeth Dutton.
And I am Dr. Zaron W. Burnett.
And I am Spartacus. And this is Ridiculous Crime, a podcast about absurd and outrageous capers, heists, and cons. It's always 99% murder-free and 100% ridiculous. Now, Zaron.
Yes, Elizabeth.
At the end of our show, we always tell listeners where to find us on social media. Mm-hmm. And we tell them they can email us with ridiculous crime suggestions /confessions.
And please do.
We actually get a lot of emails.
I've been surprised by that.
Yeah, I'll be honest. I thought that we were going to have to make them up because no one would contact us.
Like the old Penthouse Forum letters and like the letters to the editor and old
I was just going to
newspapers.
read Penthouse Forum letters. But that they told me, no, stop it, Elizabeth. So I just sit on the front porch and read them out loud. I was wrong. People do email us. Come to find out, ridiculous crime fans are two things. Incredibly kind and incredibly funny.
Doubly cool.
They're amazing. Every single message that we've received has been a total gem. And so we're going to be sprinkling a lot of those gems into the shows to come. The story that I'm going to tell you today, Zaron.
Yes, Elizabeth.
Comes to us from listeners Charlotte and Phil in Australia.
Oh, give it up to the folks down under.
I love them, by the way. They're the cutest. Charlotte's email to us suggesting this crime was totally hilarious, super witty, and the crime and the criminal are just completely ridiculous. Tailor-made for us.
Oh, excellent.
So I had intern Elliot make sure that they could record a short trailer for us.
Oh, nice.
For this one.
We could actually hear their Australian accents.
Yes. And so I'm going to let them get you prepped and ready.
G'day, my name's Charlotte.
And I'm Phil.
And we're from a little country way across the globe that you've probably never heard of.
Australia.
And we want to share a ridiculous crime from down under that we dare say shaped Australian culture as we know it today. Is that a bit of a stretch, Phil?
Am I a slinky?
What?
Continue.
It has all the ingredients of a ridiculous crime.
A repeated dine and dasher.
Multiple aliases.
A history-making news segment.
And a famous dead Hungarian chess player.
We give you the Democracy Manifest Man.
Otherwise known as the Succulent Chinese Meal Man.
We won't give too much away here, except to titillate your taste buds by telling you that the arrest video would have even the finest Shakespearean actors quaking in their boots.
Take it away, team.
They are amazing.
I love them.
And with that, I'll get started. So let me tell you about Paul Doza. His brother was not named Bull.
Just, could you see me formulating the question?
I pulled
I'm like,
it out of your brain.
Paul and Bull, right? Twin brothers.
I beat you to it.
Yeah, he did. Never mind.
Paul Doza was a chef and a chess player.
Okay.
He was born in Hungary in 1940, and he moved to Australia in the 1960s. He was a character, to put it mildly. He believed that he was a research subject of the Hungarian military who was implanted with some sort of chip or something in 1958 in Budapest.
So he thought he was part of like Hungary's MK Ultra?
Yeah, he turned 18 and they just put a chip in him. Put a ring on him, put a chip in him. Because of this, he claimed that since 1958, since he was 18, he hadn't taken any medicine, painkillers, or sleeping pills.
Now, I have to admit, I am not the strongest on the technology's history, but I believe the transistor was more of a 60s thing, and I didn't think we really had chips that could even be small enough that you could put into a human body, let alone such that it wouldn't become toxic and kill the person. How did he have a chip put in him at 19?
Hungarian know-how.
No, okay. Yeah. I don't know why I'm questioning it.
I mean, come on.
Yeah.
So instead of having to take these meds, right, they were replaced with, quote, harmonizing electromagnetic waves and hypnotic suggestions that were sent to him by the Budapest Research Center satellite.
Interesting, because they wanted to chill out the Hungarian population.
But he thought that the researchers could control both his mind and his body, but that they could also provide high levels of consciousness, health, and euphoria. But they could also kill him or make him mentally or physically ill.
Oh, so they just had like a dial that they could just turn?
It was like a big switch, and they could,
euphoria, madness, kill switch.
You got to make sure you hit the right one. Yeah. That's what he claimed.
Okay. Why did he claim this? And who did he claim this to? Do we know?
The world. He claimed it to everybody.
Just proclaimed it. Anyone met him. He's like, by the way, I've got a chip in my head right here.
Right here. Yep. Exactly.
Makes me euphoric, could kill me.
That's Paul. That's Paul right there. Like I said, character. More importantly, he's also pretty much the most prolific and proud dine and dasher of all times.
Oh, nice. So he eats, doesn't pay, splits.
That's it. He's a restaurant runner for the ages. I want you to picture it.
Yes.
1990.
Okay.
In the Tony, Sydney, Australia suburb of Balmain, Paul Doza sits at a table in the posh Manor House restaurant. Now, there's a giant fountain in the center of the room surrounded by ferns. It's elegant.
The first plant.
The tables are elegantly set. This place is just screaming eleganza. It's very early 90s style, right? Lace doily tablecloths.
Oh, wow. Do they at least have heavy silverware?
Yeah. Oh, totally. Big flower bouquets in the middle of the table. And they have like wicker, like sturdy wicker chairs. Not
Black Panther wicker chairs?
No, they don't. They're modified. They're like wooden frame and then wicker seat and back.
Oh, yeah. I got you.
Right.
Like
I don't know. Classy. Classy wicker.
Classy wicker, man. Come on now.
And in the middle of all this class and elegance is Paul Doza. And he is having a straight up feast. Soup, oysters, steak, salad, wine, sweets, cognac, Campari. I'm just gonna keep listing stuff. Bananas, apples. He's totally stuffing his face. It's very. I keep imagining it like Mr. Creosote at the end of Monty Python's.
Oh, it's just one wafer. It's just a little wafer. It's just one
thin mint.
You can do it.
So the bill comes for this extravaganza, and Paul ignores it.
Just straight up, like, actually, it's not on the table?
Oh, yeah. No, he sees it, and he's just like...
Puts his hand over his eye.
Well, this is what happens. He just sits there chilling for a while, and then he gets up and goes to use the phone, and he calls the police. And he says, I have a .44 Magnum. I've held up staff. And then hangs up.
Wait, he doesn't tell them what restaurant he's in?
Well, I suppose he did. Oh. He's just like, hey, it's me. Paul Doza.
I'm robbing this restaurant. I've taken oysters and soup.
I ate it all. So then he goes back to his table and he just sits and digests and reflects and glad hands fellow diners. And then pretty soon the tactical response group police storm in to the restaurant and they arrest Paul without incident.
Okay.
So he's just
like, I enjoyed my amateur 12-course dinner, and now I'll leave with these kind gentlemen in suits.
Precisely. At that point, Paul had been arrested for skipping out on restaurant tabs 79 times already.
Oh, damn.
Right?
79 times?
79 times. He was known to have said when the cops came, my name is Paul Doza. I pay for no meals. Take me away. Like, that's his thing, right?
Yes. I can just see the hand gesture that goes with that.
And he had a flourish to everything he did. And he would talk to people at the next table and, chat everyone up and was very kind of well-versed in culinary delights. By 1997, remember that was 1990, 7 years later, he had more than 190 convictions for dining and dashing.
Wait a minute. I don't understand how Australian law works, but it seems like the judge on the 43rd might have been like, you know what, I'm going to have to do something else.
Oh, they did. They started saying that like he couldn't eat out after 7 p.m. They put all these restrictions on him.
I thought of something maybe a little bit more. Maybe not incarceration, but something.
I mean, the man's got to live. I don't know.
Yeah.
You would think that he would be banned from restaurants, but because he was only doing this at fine dining establishments.
Yeah, it seems like they would all know him. Like,
he's
they'd have do not let this man into the
shops.
restaurant. I mean, like, they'd have a picture of a bad dollar bill and him.
A really kind of blurred Polaroid.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, exactly. No, but he started doing this in the 80s. When he refused to pay a dinner bill that was like $100 Australian. When they say dollars, I'm talking Australian dollars. And he was fined $30. And he realized, that wasn't so bad. And he kind of liked the notoriety of it, I think. He told one reporter later on that he'd been both a chef and like just a regular cook, but a trained chef in Australia from the 60s through the early 80s. But it was at like progressively less and less fancy dining establishments.
The opposite of a career that you should want.
Completely. So he like starts out at the top and he's cooking all this fine cuisine and then he winds up,
Joe's
like
Crab Shack.
Gutting fish on a dock somewhere and then thrown into a fryer for like a
Welcome to Macca's.
community fish fry. He had that knowledge, though, of a gourmet chef and a sommelier.
Okay.
So he knows wines really, really well. And there's such a like robust wine
and is he like a real
vintner
Epicurean?
Culture in Australia. Yeah. He knows, he's completely Epicurean. He knows food so well.
Mm-hmm.
And that's one of the things, too, that like when he gets arrested, he'll say as part of his whole thing about how wonderful the food was. And kind of like compliment the restaurants.
Bring the chef out to the table. I'd like to compliment him on this
so
meal
good.
that I'm not
I didn't
going to
pay for it. So he said that when in 1981, because this is around the time it all starts, he was in a car accident and he shattered his lower leg. And then he was in the hospital for a really long time and he couldn't work. And he was moved from like hospital to hospital.
No, was he blaming the Hungarian chip in his head for this?
I think maybe.
He
never made a direct correlation, but later he's talking about the chip in his head.
Mm-hmm.
And that's actually way later in all of this that he starts chip talkings. But But so he goes from hospital to hospital, and then from that point forward, he's just like, you know what, the hell with it. I'm just going to live how I want. I'm going to eat what I want. I can't afford it. He just had like a really, small pension.
Mm-hmm.
But you can't let that get in the way of an extravagant, lovely lifestyle.
You got to be you.
Completely. So no one really knows how true those stories were, any of his stories. He told people that he came from like Hungarian nobility.
Of course.
Everyone always.
I've done that 3-4 times.
He wore a cravat. And that's something that like all these press stories, witnesses will say, he was wearing a cravat, as if like, hey.
Only rich people know how to wear that.
Well, and then I'm like, we should all wear cravats and just get away with whatever we want.
When did that like really fall out? Like, it seemed like it was still very much a thing. The 60s, the 70s, is it the 80s where people stopped wearing the cravat?
I think of like Thurston Howell on
yeah, but like, you'd still
Gilligan's
see like
Island.
people like rich folks like, golf club set, and they'd have the cravat at like, the nighttime invitational thing.
Maybe
where
it was like a Robin Leach lifestyle.
Yeah,
the
he
rich
probably
and
killed
famous.
it.
Because
Yeah.
they went from like the cravat to like the overly tanned open jacket type thing.
Yeah, like British Virgin Islands, like vacation look. Where you
Yeah.
have white pants and a cravat.
Yeah.
No socks.
So yeah, he wears a cravat. He wore suits. But he also had like this long goatee that he kept tied in a sort of ponytail with a hair elastic.
Oh, like the Viking style? Like a braid?
Not braided, just like
I'm saying
like
that
a
single,
ponytail.
Yeah, it's
yeah.
like,
And why did he do that?
I could not tell you.
Karate.
Are you crazy? Really?
He said he knew karate, and then he told a reporter, "When my eye turns yellow, it's only for 5 minutes. I am very dangerous."
What?
I have no idea what that means. When someone's like, "Oh, you know karate? Like that's why it's not to keep your beard out of the soup. Like why are you doing this?" He's like, "Well, when my eye turns yellow, 5 minutes. I'm very dangerous."
That sounds like dialogue you'd see like before the level on a video game. Like the warning is when my eye turns yellow. I mean, like
that's the chip talking. Anyway, he starts eating these really decadent meals, drinking up a storm. The guy drank like crazy and not paying for it. And so he'd get a fine, spend some time in jail, use his pension money to pay the bills, get a fine, go to jail, start all over.
Oh, wait, he would have to pay for the bills while he was in jail?
Yeah, he'd get out. Yeah, he'd eventually pay it off.
Oh, okay.
But then like he'd go out and do
it
it again. No, and I think that he then wouldn't pay the fines. Like they'd let him out because it's like such a small amount in the grand scheme of things. Didn't have a fixed address after a while. And he was like staying at the Salvation Army hostel, shacking up with ladies that he would sweet talk. And a couple of times he faked heart attacks in order to be admitted to the hospital so he'd have a place to sleep.
Oh.
Yeah. He made dining and dashing his thing, though, but that's not what made him famous. Let's take a break. When we come back, I'm going to tell you how Paul gained true notoriety in Australia and where everything went from there.
Okay, cool.
So where were we?
We were in Australia with my favorite new Dine and Dasher.
Mm-hmm. Dining with Paul.
Yeah.
I could do that. I know. You know me. I'd wind up paying
You
the
couldn't
bill.
do
There's
that.
no
You'd be
way.
shaking with like
Have
anxiety.
Have you ever restaurant
Of course
run
I
dining?
have. Yes, but I was a teenager. It wasn't like I was doing it with a full understanding of what I was doing. And I'm not excusing myself. I knew it was bad and I still did it. Like I think I'd seen it on like some sitcom.
Is that how you paid for dates?
No, I was never why would I on a date? Are you kidding? No, like with my idiot friends. We would go somewhere and be like, oh, none of us have money. We're going to need to run.
What kind of restaurants?
Like Denny's,
No fine dining?
There wasn't really much fine dining in my hometown of Davis, California.
Well, you
It's
could
a
go
college
into
town.
Sacramento.
Yeah, but then we would have to like steal a car or something. I don't know, hitchhike.
At this point, it sounds like you fellas were up for anything. I've never, the closest I've come to dining and dashing is one time we were all at this pizza place in Oakland when I was growing up with my grandma. And it was my grandma and my brother and me. We got up and left and we like didn't even dawn on us that we hadn't paid the bill. And then we got like, half a block down and we're like, oh, and ran back and paid him and tipped him really well because we thought this is bad. We went there all the time.
Oh, yeah, no, totally.
Yeah. So I don't do that. You don't do it anymore.
No,
Paul,
I had some moral awakenings.
Paul Doza made it his thing. He was eating fine meals all over the continent of Australia, getting arrested, doing his whole karate chess master thing. Because that's the thing, he was a chess master.
Sorry, I love the karate chess master part.
Well, and he's just like this sort of big, Yeah,
I imagine this garrulous, charming, kind of like the equivalent of the Irish poet, but in Australia. Like somebody who's just a charmer and has stories and is full of themselves and is kind of tickled with themselves.
Right. And he was in the chess community and very well known.
Oh,
apparently.
He was like a legit chess champion.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. And he gave chess lessons.
Okay.
And so I don't know how many students he had, but he advertised them for quite a lot of money. I think it was like $500 a week or something.
Oh, yeah. That is quite a lot of money.
But, you put that out there. Who knows what kind of negotiations he had. Yeah. Anyway, 2003, Paul left this mortal coil.
R.I.P. Paul.
And while he was still with us, though, he was arrested dozens and dozens of times for failing to pay his restaurant tab, and he bragged about it. So this wasn't, like I said, he was fine with it. He called the cops, whatever. At the same time, as I mentioned before, when he gets arrested and he goes before a judge, he'd tell the judge, "I'm so sorry." But then he'd also rave about the food. I have to say that was the best filet mignon I've ever had.
If you're going to not pay for a meal, this is the best meal to not pay for.
And he says the restaurant should be applauded, and he feels terribly remorseful. And apparently these judges are falling for it. Again, why is there not some communication like, look out for this guy, he's full of it? Instead, they're like, oh, you know what? I guess he's just super charming. Using that charm everywhere he goes.
It goes far in life.
The legend of Paul doesn't end there, though.
Oh, I didn't doubt that.
The truth is that it's just beginning. Paul wasn't nationally known during his lifetime, as we can see, because no one's sharing intel on him being a dasher. But he was just an oddity, interviewed a bit during the late 90s for his weird world record mission in restaurant running. Like, I think he did honestly want to be in the Guinness Book.
He thought maybe there was a Guinness Book for dining and dashing.
I think he did. So January 2009, though, someone uploaded a video to YouTube. And that video, pure gold. Pure gold, baby.
But wait, he's
long past.
Yeah.
But this video gets uploaded. The video was filmed in 1990.
Ah, okay.
But it wasn't uploaded until 2009.
You see me over here with the math?
Yeah.
I'm like 2003, 2009? That is after 2003, 2009. I'm with this.
So, yeah, it was a posthumous release.
Okay.
But he didn't upload it of himself. In the video, we see a man being arrested and escorted out of a Chinese restaurant in Fortitude Valley, which is a suburb of Brisbane. Queensland, Australia.
Yeah, Brisbane.
And so he's being walked out from the restaurant into a waiting patrol car. Things are tense. The man is taking great umbrage to his detainment, like super irritated with it. So our friends Charlotte and Phil in Australia, they told you how amazing this video is, and it's still available on YouTube. I cannot do it justice. The audio is really just as good as the video. The audio is the key thing here. And so I'm going to play it for you now.
Just a moment. You just assured me that I could speak.
Sit down inside the car. We're not assuring anything. We're under arrest.
Look, I'm under what?
Come on.
Gentlemen, this is Democracy Manifest. Have a look at the headlock here. See that chap over there? Get your hand off my penis! This is the bloke who got me on the penis before.
Get some cups.
Why did you do this to me?
Hop in the car. Get some cups.
For what reason? What is the charge? Eating a meal? A succulent Chinese meal? Oh, that's a nice headlock, sir. Oh, yes. I see that you know your judo well. Good one. And you, sir, are you waiting to receive my limp penis? How dare get your hands off there. Ta-ta and farewell.
Ta-ta and farewell.
I don't know which part is my favorite. I see you know judo well. It's probably up there, but I don't know about, do you want to receive my limp penis? I mean, that
well,
one is...
let's recap and unpack some of this ridiculousness.
I'm under what?
Gentlemen, this is Democracy Manifest. Like, that line is what identifies the video for most people. The whole scene is referred to as democracy manifest.
It's not referred to as succulent Chinese meal?
Well, no, we're going to get to that part, but democracy manifest? What? Okay, tell me. This is your first time hearing it, Z. What do you think?
Oh my God. He sounds like a combination of the best friend from Four Weddings and a Funeral, who's the British actor, right? I cannot think of his name offhand. Nigel something?
Hold on. Producer Dave.
Producer Dave, do you remember the actor's name? Nigel, I want to say Hawthorne. I don't think that's
I have
right.
no idea.
Let's see. I'm checking. Is it Hugh Grant? No. You've got John Hannah as Matthew. James Fleet as Tom, Simon Callow as Gareth.
Simon Callow.
Okay.
Simon Callow. That's the one.
Okay. Thank you, Producer Dave.
Thank you, Producer Dave. Simon Callow. That's the dude's name. Simon Callow. He sounds like Simon Callow and Monty Python had like a very inebriated baby, and he grew up to be a very arrogant man who was very consumed with his penis.
Well, that's where you get your hand off my penis. I like the people.
Yeah, this is the bloke who has his hand on my penis, people.
It's not just the line, it's that delivery.
Yeah.
And like
his elocution, amazing.
Yeah, I know that getting jostled by the police probably often involves unintentional or maybe intentional crotch action.
Oh, I can tell you for certain they definitely intentionally.
The man in the video delivers the line so beautifully. The volume.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's to the back row. He's projecting. That you can
Completely
hear the
sonorous.
theater training.
Yes. When you watch the video, and I know people will, just look for Democracy Manifest on YouTube. You'll see that he's totally playing to any bystanders who are watching this mess.
I see you know judo well.
So what is this charge? Eating a meal, a succulent Chinese meal? That's my favorite line ever.
Totally a succulent Chinese meal.
This is what people refer to him as, the succulent Chinese meal man.
And what a beautiful adjective to put in front of Chinese meal.
Oh my God.
Succulent. Like I would never think to call a Chinese meal succulent, and I worked in a Chinese restaurant for 2 years.
I will never enjoy another dinner of Chinese cuisine, be it Szechuan, Cantonese, dim sum, bao, you name it, without referring to it as a succulent Chinese meal. Probably allowed.
Tell the chef, compliments. This meal, succulent.
Be like, what are we having for dinner tonight? I don't know. I'm thinking a succulent Chinese meal. And then you call and you order for pickup and you say, yeah, I'll have whatever, hot and sour soup. Is it succulent?
Yeah, I'm going to need it to be succulent.
Yeah, I'll order it with extra succulence. The judo. I see you know your judo well.
Whoa!
What is this with the judo? Okay.
He's not even getting like judo flipped or judo held or judo anything.
No one's doing any quick judo moves. If anything, it's more akin to like a Tai Chi slow movement.
Yeah.
But this does call to mind Paul Doza's claim of karate prowess.
My karate recognizes your judo.
His karate. He goes, Kia. The video was uploaded, as I said, in 2009, immediately went viral, which obviously we can tell why that happened. Australians loved this guy. They still love him.
Oh, I love him.
Let's face it, Australian sense of humor is fantastic.
Oh, 100%.
They are bawdy, they're teasing, clever, anti-authoritarian, a little outrageous.
The surfer Mick Fanning, hilarious.
So good. So just like the video, this video is like the embodiment of this amazing, their appreciation of it too. But so
also, if you get a bunch of Australians around some Brits and you get a little alcohol involved, they get even funnier.
Oh yeah, completely. So Succulent Chinese Meal Man becomes a folk hero.
Okay.
And it's been called one of the most eloquent arrests of all time.
Eloquent arrests.
So the video goes viral. Folks were desperate to identify the man protesting his arrest as being Democracy Manifest.
I'm so curious as to why it gets released in 2009.
Yeah.
I mean, like just somebody's like, oh, I found this old video. I got to share this with the world. Thanks,
I think
YouTube.
so. Yeah. I think it's just like going through archival footage. It was shot by a news crew. And it was raw footage. So you didn't have a reporter speaking over explaining what the scene was.
Oh, I got you.
So it was just this raw footage. And, there were a lot of claims about it, too, that some people thought that it perhaps was a reenactment because there are a couple camera angles.
Oh, interesting.
But I don't know. I think it's just like how it's anyway. there were conspiracies and theories.
Conspiracy theories
continued
about
to grow.
succulent Chinese dude.
Oh, totally. And so some people thought it was like a prank. Someone thought it's, some have said that, like I said, a reenactment of something that actually did happen.
Okay.
But it's from what I can tell, it's a filming of a scene.
Yeah, it sounded legit. I have to give it that.
Legit. But here's what happens though, is right. So people start trying to figure out who he is. Paul Doza, perfect fit, right?
Mm-hmm.
Dine and Dasher is getting hauled out of a restaurant, this whole thing. So the world comes to know Succulent Chinese Meal Man as Paul Doza, one and the same.
Okay.
And Paul Doza is not there to tell the world whether it's him or not, because he's gone. But things aren't really adding up with that.
How so?
Well, internet sleuths went to work.
Internet sleuths.
Yeah.
My favorite detectives.
So on some chess forums,
Go on.
there were people who actually knew Paul in real life, who were saying, this is not Paul.
This is not the karate playing chess master I know.
Well, I think the main issue is that Paul Doza had apparently a very pronounced Hungarian accent.
And he couldn't do that British elocution like that?
No, that he didn't do that.
Because that guy sounded British, right? I mean, he didn't sound Australian.
Yeah, he sounded very...
Or he's doing an impression
or doing
of
a British, yeah. And like a very Shakespearean delivery.
Yeah, it sounds very theatrical.
And many people who knew Paul Doza said that was not something he could pull off.
Okay.
And so...
Hungarian is a pretty thick accent. I mean, it's you'd have to be really good to be able to get to erase all the sounds off your vowels to make it so English.
Well, here's something that I think is interesting. There was an article written about this incident where the author said that Paul Doza wrote in a Hungarian accent. Because at one point he had...
I say some foul things sometimes, but that's wild.
Right?
He wrote in a Hungarian accent.
Yeah, and that's why I'm not going to specify what article this was. But anyway, Paul Doza had like a really basic do-it-yourself webpage for a while before he passed away. And then, the writing was a little stilted.
Okay. I got you.
But apparently that's how you write in an accent. So he has this sort of heavy Hungarian accent in real life. His face is different than the man in the videos. It's just, you could see how it's hard to look at a video and then look at a still photo of someone because your face moves and angles and what have you. Totally. But you can kind of tell, I don't think it's the same guy. He also was in real life really soft-spoken. And his charm was not a boisterous charm. So the idea of him shouting like the man in the video didn't hold.
And it didn't, as somebody who has like issues with my volume, he sounds like somebody who'd been speaking loud. Like you don't suddenly, when other people try to do impressions of me, they have to shout.
Right.
I don't even have to really use a lot of effort to get louder. And you can kind of tell that. This guy is somebody who's used to projecting to the back row.
Like that Will Ferrell sketch on Saturday Night Live with the voice modulation disorder.
I have voice modulation syndrome. It strikes dozens of people in the U.S. each year.
That is very much you.
Yeah, I know.
And it's hard, like for me, to do an impression of that.
Yeah.
I'm not a very loud person.
No, exactly.
And so I'm the more Paul, and you're the Succulent Chinese Meal Man.
I'm 100% Succulent Chinese Meal Man.
So, and I'm Paul, just squirrely, telling people that,
just a karate
the Hungarian
chess master over here.
Yeah, what? That's me. So who is the man in the video, if not Paul?
Simon Cowell.
Was the whole thing staged? Simon Cowell in a tight t-shirt. Is there any way of ever knowing? Huh?
Oh, wow.
Well, when we come back from this ad break, I'm going to shine a light on this.
Nice. And I can lower my eyebrow that's still raised.
Okay, so we met Paul Doza, and we fully experienced Succulent Chinese Meal Man.
Oh, so good.
Are they one and the same?
I don't know.
No.
Oh!
No, they're not. Everyone was going along thinking Succulent Man was Paul. Enter the Australian punk band, The Chats.
The Chads or the Chat? Okay,
Chats,
the T or
like
D?
talking. Like
okay,
chat.
the Chats.
In late February of 2020, they released a video for their song Dine and Dash.
Okay.
Side note, terrible timing February 2020 to release something.
Yeah.
You know,
especially
it's
by
like,
going into a restaurant.
Yeah, exactly. But their music is actually pretty good.
You like the song?
It's very 77 punk, sort of like an Aussie Buzzcocks.
Yeah, I got you. That does sound kind of cool.
Yeah. In the video, they recreated the Democracy Manifest clip with the artist Jack K playing the role of Succulent Chinese Mealman.
I would have liked it if it was the actress Jack Hay.
Oh my God. Mavi. Yeah. So no, instead. Like,
I see you know Cheetah. Wow.
Hands off my penis. Mavi. No, this guy, Jack K. The thing is, it's immediately obvious when you watch it that Jack K is actually Succulent Chinese Mealman.
Oh.
He's not just playing the part. It's the man himself.
The band found the man.
Yeah, no question. And it turns out that Jack K is actually a man named Cecil George Edwards.
Wow, Cecil George Edwards. Sounds like he should be like a banker.
Yeah. Well, he's an artist, and he had some kind of previous run-ins with the law, but nothing big. A betting agency called Sportsbet got an exclusive interview with him at the time, which is weird.
So is this like an English betting thing?
Well, Australian, I
know,
suppose.
but yeah, they have some commonalities. So I thought maybe the English betting had heard the story and they went down there and said,
this
we'll do
was,
the story.
it was like a betting website, Sportsbet, an agency. They get this interview, and I don't know how any of that works. So this website pops up, and they're offering interview opportunities with Jack K, not Jack K.
Yes, sorry, I shouldn't have.
Jack, selling merch, T-shirts, whatever. Some of the T-shirts were in like a cross-promotion thing with this Australian meme account called Brown Cardigan.
Okay, it's like Australian Tank Sinatra.
Yeah, but it's like, I went and I looked at them, and this is what I love, is when you're a total outsider to a community and you know that it's what they are doing is absolutely hilarious to the people who get it. But I, as an outsider, really have no idea what they're talking about.
Oh, it's like really Australian-specific humor?
Yeah.
It's not like that dude Thomas Violence where like Americans can totally get what he's doing.
No. I mean, there's some stuff that's just internationally and like humanly funny.
Yeah.
But there are some things that they're making references, and I know that it's super funny, but
you just don't know why?
It's not funny to me because I don't even know what it is.
Okay.
I'm totally confused by it. But for some reason, I love seeing that because it's like, I like communities that get to have their own thing and no one can just horn in and
I'm liking that for
it.
Gen Z. They have a bunch of inside jokes that other people have no idea what they're talking about. Yeah, and you think,
all right, go have at it. I like that for people.
It's
that
like a
makes
whole
me
perspective
happy.
on the world. Yeah, it suggests that they all share a common
Not
perspective.
everyone has to be privy to everything. You know what I mean? So the merch and the booking website, by the way, totally defunct now. So that went under pretty quickly. But Jack, the original Succulent Chinese Mealman, he, in this interview, he also provided the original clip with the reporter's voiceover.
Oh.
And according to Jack and the voiceover, he got pinched at the Chinese restaurant in a case of mistaken identity. So, as I said, he was just like a petty criminal at the time.
Okay.
But the cops were looking for someone who was on their most wanted list, and they thought that was Jack. Cecil.
Oh, interesting. So they come in and they bust Succulent Chinese Mealman,
he's just,
assuming he is on a most wanted list as a real hardened criminal.
Right.
People then get confused and they think that this guy is...
Well, he's Jack, right?
Yeah.
He's as much a character as Paul Doza was.
But how do people then mistake Paul Doza for him? Where does that...
Because everyone assumed that when they saw the guy getting dragged out of a restaurant that it was a dine and dash situation. Is kind of the way I've pieced it together.
Okay, that makes sense.
So people see that clip, they're like, oh yeah, it's that famous dine and dasher, and they kind of look alike, and it makes sense.
They're about the same age.
Right, and flashy or whatever, but not really knowing much. If you just read news articles about Paul Doza and you don't read the accounts of people who knew him personally, it would totally make sense.
I got you.
So Jack, Cecil, he's just hanging out having a meal with a friend in the restaurant, and he gets yanked out, and he's got this amazing outlook on life, so he turns it into a total show.
I'm sorry. This is his offers of his body part. The thing that always just ticks me.
He
receive my limp penis.
He goes by
sir.
He's this provocateur, in everything he does. He has his aliases. One of them is Johann Kalmut Carlson. Which
Kalmut Carlson.
I'm desperate to hear him call himself that. This is so good. So he's this provocateur. Somehow, though, he keeps his identity as Succulent Chinese Mealman completely secret. I have no idea.
And how did the band find out?
I have no idea. Nobody seems to know.
And the band isn't talking? They haven't said like, oh, hey, yeah, we totally...
I couldn't find anything. Now, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe this is one of those like secret Australian, they know and they don't want the rest of us to ruin it. I don't know. So perhaps Australians are rolling your eyes at me like, well, of course we know how it, well, for the rest of us, morons, but it does, I can't tell. So he doesn't seem like the quiet type though.
No,
so
he does not.
Add up.
He seems like a self-promoter.
He's an artist.
Yeah.
Like a literal painter though.
He feels like a rise late and grind.
Yes, completely. But he's this painter. He paints actually really good picture, like oil paints or whatever. And
kind
a
of
lot
like J.
of
Fred Muggs?
I don't know. But you're talking about the chimpanzee.
Yes.
Yeah. Although maybe they're both just hopped up on that special orange juice. Who knows? But Jack's paintings are good, but a lot of them are scenes of him being arrested. Like he paints that scene. And that's another thing that I would really love to own is an original Jack K painting of him being arrested for enjoying a succulent Chinese meal.
Oh, completely. We have to see if we can get one of these Jack K originals for you.
Thank you. Jack K, if you're out there.
I'm going to get a Jack K original. This is for you.
I'll take either one.
Okay.
Either one. So that is the story of Democracy Manifest, a.k.a. Succulent Chinese Meal Man.
I feel like I know judo well now.
Yeah, I've learned a lot. We've come a long way.
People!
What is your ridiculous takeaway on this one?
Oh, wow. My ridiculous takeaway. I would probably say that Australia, I am convinced, is a very fun place. It's like Texas with more class.
Yes.
And I'm also convinced that Simon Callow is an amazing actor. And don't ask me to explain why this is further proof he's an amazing actor, but because this guy reminded me so much of him, I'm like, I like him even more.
There you go.
Basically, if you are able to do, I want to say great, but phenomenal elocution and able to talk about your limp body parts in a way that strangers laugh, I think you're a charming, charming person, and we should give you free succulent Chinese meals.
I like the celebration that the Australian people have for this.
Yes, totally.
Like owning it and just loving the ridiculousness of it.
Yeah, the Australian folk hero quality.
It's so great. It's so great. And I am so happy that Charlotte and Phil fill this in. I had never heard of this.
No,
I don't think I ever would.
Thank you, Charlotte and Phil. This is a good one.
They're the best. So that's it for us today. That wraps it up.
I'm under what?
You can find us online at Ridiculous Crime on both Twitter and Instagram. If you got a tip for us about a ridiculous crime that you'd like to hear about, look at what happened with Charlotte and Phil.
That could be you.
They could be you. You want to confess to one? Go right ahead. Email us at ridiculouscrime@gmail.com. And after that, other than that, tune in next time, my friends.
We'll see you then.
Ridiculous Crime is hosted by Elizabeth Dutton and Zaron Burnett. Produced and edited by Democracy Manifester Dave Kustin. Research is by judo champion Marissa Brown. The theme song is by Thomas Checkmate Lee and Travis Karate Eyes Dutton. Executive producers are Chef Ben Bolin and maitre d' Noel Brown.
Ridiculous Crime is a production of iHeartRadio. For more podcasts from iHeartRadio, visit the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you listen to your favorite shows.